Diego, first of all, thanks for accepting our invite. It's great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
I would like to start talking about, as a global investor with a presence in Latin America, what's the prevailing sentiment regarding the infrastructure and energy projects in the region? I mean, the overall outlook is more positive or negative? And are there any standout countries, whether in a positive or negative light?
Okay, I think that the prevailing sentiment is moderate. It's been more or less the same that it's been for the last years. There is a number of countries that, of course, presents more opportunities, mainly Chile, Brazil, Peru, Mexico, and Colombia. I think these are the main countries, but all of them has challenges. For example, in Mexico, the P3 investments are delayed. So I think that we will need to wait for the next government to see if he pushes that along. Peru is a pipeline of projects. There is always some political instability, but that somehow it doesn't affect the commercial market and the economy. So it's going forward with interesting projects. We recently secured a couple of concessions in the high voltage transmission system. So I think that Peru has a good outlook. Chile, of course, has a very well-known pipeline of projects. It's been like that for many years, but now it's suffering some challenges. It's a very mature country. It used to be the better in the region. Still is, but not so bright as it was in the past. Argentina, we don't know. New government. Now the public works and infrastructure, it's stopped completely. But I hope that the government in the midterm will restart that. So there is a huge need of infrastructure there. And Brazil is also a good example, good pipeline, and the federal and state governments are pushing investments. So I think overall the sentiment it's good, but there are some challenges related to each country.
In the projects that you have already invested, how is the performance nowadays?
Well, we're dealing with those challenges. Those main challenges tend to be permitting and some adjustment for inflation, the price review of the contracts. I think that overall, for the investments in infrastructure in the region, the governments are behind what is happening in other markets in the world. For example, in Australia with the Alliance contract, a better risk-return ratio and a very good risk allowance. I think that the countries here in Latin America are lacking in that aspect. I need to be upgraded.
Perfect. The global macroeconomic challenge, mainly in Europe, which is home to large companies, is reducing the appetite for new investments in Latin America, or considering that infrastructure and energy projects are long-term, is the continent still attractive? And how is Acciona positioning itself regarding new investments in the continent?
Acciona is looking forward for more investment and projects here. I think that the evidence of that is that we recently were awarded the Anillo Vial Periférico in Peru, this new high voltage transmission line project or concessions also in Peru, the hospital of La Serena in Chile. So we are betting for the region. I think that what is happening in Europe has an impact, but it's global. It's not hurting Latam in that respect. I think one key issue here is that the interest rates are still higher and going down. It's been delayed, and that is hurting profits in this side of the world. When you compare the projects here in Latin America with projects, for example, in Australia or Canada or other Anglo-Saxon markets, in those markets, the two biggest risks related to this project that are permitting and expropriations are very well managed, and you can put in your offers or in your proposal a bigger contingency or you can manage that with bigger profits. Locally here, the competition is hard, so it's difficult to do that, and the model it doesn't work so well. So I think that considering that, Latin America is still very, very attractive.
Good to hear that. One of the sectors where Acciona has a significant presence is energy. Given its natural advantage, Latin America emerges as a potential leader in the energy transition. What range of opportunities do you see in the region, And are there any challenges? If so, what are they the most important?
Well, of course, Latin America presents a lot of opportunities for the energy market. Most of the countries in Latin America has a high percentage of their energy matrix with hydraulic power. You don't have a backpack of carbon that you need to get rid of. So in the future, developing renewables will imply a higher percentage of renewables in your matrix. That is good. Of course, there are challenges. One key issue is the lack of transmission lines, sufficient transmission lines. Chile is suffering that right now. Another key issue is the regulatory stability. The regulation should be the same and should keep for the foreseeable future of your investment. Some countries need to do some homework there. And permitting. Permitting has been also a key issue. In some countries, like Chile again, permitting has been stopping some projects that are needed, like transmission projects. So we need a rational approach to those, and compatible with social and environmental. Sometimes the governments go towards environmental and start stopping projects. That is happening in Chile right now, and we need to sort that out.
Perfect. Still on renewable energies, what role will green hydrogen play in this agenda, and is Acciona at the forefront of this evolution?
Well, there is a lot of hype about green hydrogen. Specifically in Chile, there are a lot of projects. We are pushing one project that is very well advanced in its construction with a local partner in the Quintero Bay. That will be maybe in 1.5 years, we'll be producing hydrogen. And there are a lot of other projects. As Acciona, we have many big projects in the south, in the region of Magallanes and in Argentina, and in other countries like Marruecos and US, but mainly in South America, even in Brazil also. And we're going forward, I think, with the Chilean and Brazilian projects faster than the other ones because the conditions are very, very good. Green hydrogen is key for the electrification of the industry sectors that are not easily electrifiable. So we are all pushing onto that, and Acciona is onto that through a company that we have that is called Acciona Carbon Technologies. That is a co-investment between the group and Nordex.
And it's focused on hydrogen?
Only on green hydrogen. And we have a big portfolio of projects, the ones that I mentioned in Chile, Brazil, Argentina, Marruecos, US, Mexico. So the future looks bright.